Hello and welcome my friend, and then I am planning to give you really excellent information that how I can inspect this my cars, these wheel and tire bearings, and these bearings are inside in this area in here, like inner area. We later look at what this area looks like, but firstly we do this bearing test, that how I can test very easily my car's bearings. And first test is that we have to do this rotation test, and we have to also remove for that test this car's brake disc and brake pads, because we have to listen that can we hear anything noise. And now I have really take brake disc away, and there is no any brakes in this wheel, and we can listen that what we can hear when I rotate that. And this is totally silent. And that means now that this is excellent bearing in this wheel. And when you are doing this silence and noise test for wheel and tire bearings, there must be so silent than possible. And then we only rotate it in this way. And we listen that area. And in my case, this is excellent bearing because there is no any noise. And note also that this your car must be in up and in air, and if you do that test in your car and you have similar situation, that no any silence, and you have to do this test for all wheels, and if you hear anything interesting or sound, then you can think that my cars or trucks, this bearing is bad inside in here. And let's look at what this bearing looks like, because it is interesting. Okay, and this test, there are two tests what tells to us that what is this my car's bearing status. First test was and is this movement test, and we are now listening and checking that can we hear anything. Let's look. And if this is silent, everything is fine. And then there is this bearing. Bearing looks like that. And it is inside in here. And now we are testing this thing. That when this moves, can we hear something like that kind? There is something error in here. If we hear any sound, then we can think that there is issue. Okay, and let's repeat that test, and also it is good to take this brake disc and brake pads and brake caliper away, like I have made in this my car. Okay, and let's continue. And then the second test. If we can't hear anything, then we can think that maybe this my bearing, wheel bearing is okay, or if we hear something noise, what like small sandy or rough sound, we can think that now maybe my bearings are bad. But then the second test Second test is movement test, and we take our hands firstly in this direct position and then this another side position, and we move this our wheel in like in that way, little bit. We shake carefully, very carefully, like in that way, small movement, like half inch. And if we can feel anything, tolerance and this variance and movement in here, and if we hear something, then we can think that now this bearing is bad. But in like this my case, this is totally no any tolerance and no anything movement in here, and this is good. And then second test is that I move that in this direction in here, and I pull and I press, and purpose is to find any extra tolerance in here. But this is really solid. Okay, and this test tells to me that now this area's wheel bearing is okay and good, and next I have to do this test for all of my another these wheel areas and tires, and if everything is similar than that one, then everything is fine. But if we can hear any sound or tolerance, then we need to replace this bearing inside in here. And bearings really looks like that. And they are a little bit complex to replace, but I will show that how we can change this bearing package. Okay, good. Okay, and here we have this bad bearing, and if we lift our wheel up, then we rotate that. That kind of sound, like rolling sound, it means that now there is some issue, starting issue. Soon this my bearing is damaged. If you have take away brake disc and brake pads, then there is only sound of bearing. Listen. This small sound, this is bad. Let's go to listen closer. Now these bad sounds come from here inside. Listen. This is starting point. Silence. Then I rotate that. We can hear this whoa, whoa, and this rolling sound. It is bad. This is bad sound. If we hear anything like that, this is like starting thing. And then when we are testing this car or truck's bearings, if we hear this something sound, it is like starting point that now we have damage, and then we can do this movement test. And sometimes everything is okay, that there is no any extra tolerance, but the sound tells to us that something is wrong in their inside. Okay.